life don't give a damn whether you think you the guy. Life will prove whether you a man or not. You can walk around with your chest out, I'm a man. Life will prove whether you right or wrong. You know what? When life checks men, when the applause stops. When the applause stops for all the good you've done, and you got to face life on your own with nobody to blame. I'm gonna tell you when you know you're a man, when you stop blaming people for where you've been and what you've gone through. You can't check your manhood until you stop blaming people for the things that have happened in your life. That's the facts.
Dear brothers, manhood is about maturity, not just might. Let's talk about it, man. I have been through some hellish things in my life, man. One of the things that comes straight to my mind, besides being on dialysis, besides being through a kidney transplant, besides being through 2 divorces, I lost my mom, my dad, and my daughter all in a stretch of 5 years. In fact, I lost my dad and my daughter in a 4-month time frame. And one thing I learned, man, is one of the most dangerous things you can do is believe that manhood is about might when manhood is really about maturity. It's one of the greatest things I learned, that manhood is really about maturity, not might. Sometimes we try to strength our way through life. It's not real, bro. We've been taught that. It's not lasting fuel. The might, the strength, the verbosity, the all the things that they say make manhood. When I've gone through those things in life, man, and I eulogize my mom, my dad, and my own daughter. If she was 4 months old. Might didn't get me through that. It took God. It took maturity. It took me slowing down. And I think the biggest thing that I want to say to you guys today, man, is that don't be a giant when it's time to just be a man. There are times, man, when it's time to be a giant. But there's times when it's time to just be a man, to deal with life and to feel life, to feel the things that happen to you, to feel it as it comes, man, to deal with it, let it crush you sometime. See, the strength journey, this myth that we hear about on the internet about, being stoic and all that stuff is good. It gets points and clicks. But we all know in this real life as men, we feel even if we don't act like it. We deal even if we don't act like it. But pain is real, bro. Even if you don't display it or portray it, pain is real, and you know that. And so let me get into this today, man. But I want to show you, and I'm not going to take long to do this, man. But this is something I really feel like I need to share. I sat on the dialysis chair, man, 2.5 years. I had served God since I was 14 years old. And it was times where I said, God, I don't deserve this. I was angry at God. Like, I don't deserve to be here. I was 38 years old on dialysis. Had 4 kids, man. One was just born. And I was very disappointed in life. Man, I've been through suicidal thoughts. I've been through attempts. See, man, when I did the Dear Brother podcast, man, it wasn't just because I'm trying to get some likes or some clicks or trying to monetize. I built this because I know there are guys out there just like me who are real men but face real things, man, that challenge your strength and challenge your energy. I've been through abusive relationship where I was mentally, emotionally abused, bro. Trying to be everything I could as a man, and it just seemed like it's not enough, and I kept blaming myself. What can I do next? What can I do more? I've been through things with my children where I was trying to travel and build a career so I can have what I needed to raise them, but missing moments with them because I was trying to get what they needed when what they really needed was me. My dad was there when I grew up. He was right there in the house. But I learned the hard work from my dad, but I didn't learn the love and the patience that children need. Man, I had so many flaws, even though I had a good background. Good background don't mean you don't have flaws. So I want to say this again, man. Manhood is about maturity, not just might. And sometimes the greatest maturity you can have is admitting what you don't have. admitting what you're not, admitting what you still need to work on, admitting that there's times you need to reframe your life. And I invite you to that today, man, to reframe your life. Take a second look. I'm 45 now, you know, on the other side of life now. And sometimes it's good to pause and get off this journey of trying to become something and get on the journey of trying to become yourself, because that's really the most safe and comfortable place you can be. Your safety is not just with no woman. Your safety is not just in that house, or your safety is not that addiction or whatever you deal with. Your safety is not just the money in the bank or the car you drive or your dream home. Your safety is where you are in here. Where am I in here, bro? How do I really feel about me? That's where your safety is, because all those other things, they don't cover who you really are. See, strength isn't about stoic. You know, this tough guy mentality. Strength isn't about being stoic, man. Not at all. Not at all. Strength, real strength is, it includes vulnerability. Yeah, it includes vulnerability. I know some guys, I don't want to be vulnerable. I don't want to be, you got to be. Life going to make you vulnerable. You ain't stronger than life. And you ain't stronger than the wind that blows in your life that you never expected. You ain't stronger than that, bro. Get over yourself. Scripture says time and chance happen to every man. You wake up and you don't know what's going to happen. I never woke up and thought that my baby would be hanging on to life. I never woke up and realized, man, my dad would get sick. He would be gone in 2 weeks. I never thought my mom would get pancreatic cancer at 62 and die in 10 months. I never thought I would sit on a dialysis machine trying to pastor churches and finish a master's degree. I never thought, man, that I would have a knife to my arm trying to make myself bleed enough to die while I'm still pastoring and trying to figure out how I'm going to go tell people God is good tomorrow when I'm about to try to take my life tonight. Suppressing emotions, man, doesn't make you stronger. Acknowledging your pain is what makes you stronger. Don't get fooled, man, by this what they call it, this internet thing. Don't get lost in the rules of manhood we learned online. No. That's why I built the Dear Brother podcast, is where grown men keep growing. When you deal with grief is a passage, not a prison. And grief don't always have to do with dying. Grief sometimes is losing who you thought you were. I counsel people all the time. In fact, if you need coaching and counseling, go to christianwinners.com, man. I do donation-based counseling for men. But grief is a passage. christianwinners.com, just in case you missed it. christianwinters.com. Go there, set up some counseling, set up some coaching, bro. Facing some things, don't face it by yourself. It's not worth it. But grief is a passage, not a prison. Sometimes you got to grieve who you thought you were. You got to grieve who people made you think you had to be. One of the greatest losses I ever took was who I thought I had to be for other people. See, mourning is a necessary transition from one place to another, and you got to go through it. You got to go through it, because you can't transition into that place without the mourning, the loss. Otherwise, you're faking it, and you're carrying an old dead weight with you, and eventually that dead weight is going to take you down. You're not meant to stay in those places where you fell and where you made mistakes, man. You're not meant to stay in those places. No. You're meant to move through it. You're meant to move forward. But the question is, how am I going to move forward? How am I going to move forward? Am I going to move forward as a better man or a diminished man, a lost man, a groveling man, a complaining man? You don't have to go through like that. No. You come out stronger on the other side. You see? 10% of life is what happens to you. 90% is how you handle it. Another thing, man, learn to apologize. Learn to apologize. It doesn't make you a weak man. It doesn't diminish who you are. Owning your mistakes and seeking forgiveness, it builds character. One of the greatest conversations I ever had was when I sat with my kids and said, I'm sorry for this. I'm sorry that I handled that way. I'm sorry that I didn't handle this, or I didn't say this. I should have. Man, it built great relationship with my kids because they realized I was a human, and hopefully they go on to be better parents or go on to be good parents when they become parents, because they had a dad that would apologize to them. See, a man who can admit that when he's wrong, that's a growing man. A man who just want to sit and no admit nothing, man, that's a weak man. That's a child, man. That's a man-child. Admit when you're wrong. Save that relationship. Every woman you've been with ain't the wrong woman, bro. Sometimes you couldn't admit your faults. You see what I'm saying? Sometimes you got to mourn who you were to become who you're meant to be. Holding on to an old identity, it keeps you from stepping in. It keeps you from stepping into new purpose, new ideas, man. You're full of ideas. You were born with purpose. You weren't born because your mom thought your dad was cute. You weren't born because your dad thought your mom was handsome. You were born with a purpose in life. And so don't hold on to old things, man. You're forgiven. Forgive yourself. It ain't about everybody else, man. Forgive yourself so you can step into new purpose. Because that's what you're worth. You're worth that to me, but you got to be worth that to you. Letting go of old things, man, isn't weakness, man. It's called evolution. It's called changing. It's called embracing. And healing only happens in honesty. Healing don't happen while you sitting there talking about old stories when you used to be strong. We all do that, man. Oh, man, I used to be this and I used to be that. Man, what are you now? What do you want to be now? See, sometimes the greatest weapon, the greatest enemy to your future is celebrating the past too long. Healing happens in honesty, man. When you ignore your pain, it doesn't make it disappear. When you ignore the things that have disappointed you, it doesn't make you disappear. It doesn't disappear. Healing comes from confronting what hurts you, not pretending it doesn't exist. Manhood is about maturity, not about might. I want you to catch that today. See, being a man, it's never an easy thing. It's never an easy thing. You know that. You know that. Being a man is not an easy thing. Kids look to you for everything. Family looks to you for everything. Relationship, everybody's looking to you for everything. It's not easy, bro. But being a man isn't about never breaking down. Sometimes breaking down is showing you where you need to be built up most. It's knowing how to rebuild when things haven't gone so well. It's knowing how to rebuild and how to do it with wisdom instead of might and strength. Wisdom, knowledge, understanding. That's where manhood is right here. Wisdom, knowledge, understanding. Knowing which direction to go. Knowing how to get there. Knowing how to lead your family. Knowing how to talk to your daughters, man. Knowing how to lead your son. Knowing how to lead your lady. And if you don't have any of that, it's knowing how to lead yourself. Your future, the future where you're going, the things that's on your mind to become, your future requires a new you. Not the old you, not the way you used to think, not the comfort of how things were. Your future is requiring a new you, and some of you are feeling the stress of that right now. Because your future is requiring you to step up, to become the man that you want to become. That's what your future requires, bro. You can't build the next chapter of your life, man, still trying to erase and change the old. You can look at it, look at that old thing and say, you know what? Let me rewrite this in the next chapter. But this is what it is. What can I learn from this? How can I become better from this in every manner of life? Because manhood ain't about might, it's about maturity. Don't become a giant when you just need to feel and be a man. Embrace who you're becoming instead of clinging on to who you were. You owe yourself that. You owe your family that. You owe your children that. You owe that business you're trying to build. You owe all that the best you. Hey, man, I love you. But you got to love you. You live this life, my brother, with no fear, no shame, and no compromise. Don't fear what's next. Confront it. Don't be ashamed of who you were. Build better. Don't compromise the steps you want to take. Walk slower so you can walk them out right. Again, man, I love you, but you got to love you. Yesterday is history. Tomorrow's a mystery. All we got is right now. What you gonna do with it? What you gonna do about it? See you soon, man. Hit that subscribe button. Become part of the Dear Brother podcast, where grown men grow even more. I'll see you soon, bro. You matter today. You matter today.